It is raining like cats and dogs in the background, so please don't mind that in this video. We should have music over this though, that could help. But welcome back to another video on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a video giving my thoughts on the Let's Play of Astro's Playroom. If you missed my Let's Play that I did on it, there's a whole playlist. You can go check it out. Without any further ado, we're going to get right into the video. Alright, we're going to start off with CPU Plaza. Now, starting off with the CPU Plaza, this is the main room you see when loading into the game. It's pretty much the centerpiece of the inside of the console, which the room is based off of, which is based off the PS5. The design of the room looked very clean, not much to complain about. My favorite thing about the room was how everything was named after certain things within the insides of the actual PS5, like SSD Speedway or GPU Jungle, or Cooling Springs or Memory Meadow. I thought that was very dope, as each entrance also had a design element which made it look like what it was based off of. Nice attention to detail in this room. Even the walls leading down to the area below the CPU kid had the little PlayStation buttons on the wall and stuff, which I thought was really cool. Which, by the way, we never attacked the CPU kid. That's fake news. It also had some puzzle pieces and coins to collect, since most of the time you play this game, if you're not doing a mission or a level or in the Labo, then you're in the CPU Plaza, which is very considerate from the creators of the game. Kicking it off is Memory Meadow. This is the first world in the game. This world was in relation to the memory storage of the PS5, and it is based off of the PS1 and PS1 ONE. You first get into the world and it is a lot of green, more green than, never mind, I'm not gonna say that joke, but more green than a bank vault. You'll go from rolling around in a ball to nearly being squashed by a CRT TV. It's important to note that each world does have 4 levels, so I'll try my best not to ramble too long in these sections, or we'll be here until 2030. So let's start off with level 1, which is Gusty Gateway. We start with level 1, which is Gusty Gateway. Although we dealt with windy conditions, I still had a lot of fun. Being the introduction level, it gave the very basic style as to how the certain elements of the game and world would be. The name of this level, you could look at the name and see, is based off of the windy conditions, with the likely technical addings with the term gateway. The background here also looked nice in regards to elements. A lot of basic skills were taught here, like killing enemies. Obviously, that's kind of the first thing you do. I also love how they remembered what the world was based off of, since they had the huge RAM module in the back in the first part of this area. And the little DualShock 1 controller wirings, I thought that was pretty dope as well. Heading into level 2 in Memory Meadow, we had Fastlane Fields, and easily, in my opinion, was visually one of the most beautiful levels in this world, as we went from a windy and cloudy background in Gusty Gateway to this. Just as an FYI, this sky style does reappear later on in Bumper Broadway, so obviously we'll mention that later on. The button-shaped clouds will touch your soul. It's on the levels of beauty of Margot Robbie and Taylor Rooks. If you know, you know. The name of this level is easily identifiable by the fields of pink you'll end up seeing and the fast pace that you travel at. As for the rest, we got to have a little more fun to see how the DualSense will be utilized as promised before playing this game. We got to use the DualSense pad on the DualSense controller to roll around in the ball, and the fields were also really nice looking. The pink really stood out in this level. It was very nice looking. In this transition, we go from pink and white, pause? Hey yo! Never mind. To a very stormy third level, Electrocloud. Clouds were great, and there was a lot of lightning, and it made for some awesome screenshots. The name of this stage is identifiable by the lightning here and the huge amounts of clouds we see and jump on. There were CRT TVs moving up and down and platforms flipping from side to side. The skill test that was used here for the player was mainly about jumping and timing, platform jumping. That popped up a lot in levels, which we'll keep mentioning as we go on. Simple but hard towards the end of the level. The secret area was also really beautiful, as it must be what heaven looks like. So also shout out to the rubber ducky that we saw. Shucky ducky quack quack. Shout out Booker T. Oh yeah, man. Going back into pink and white skies in view, we made it and overcame the storm of Electrocloud to a simple, fun, and kind of difficult fourth and final level, Bumper Broadway. We got to play pinball as the ball, which was very fun, and the name of this level involves the ability of getting back in the ball we were in earlier and rolling around using your DualSense pad. This time though, it was tested a lot more with the ice platform areas in each stage. At times, things would get slippery, but you would learn things as the game would go on via corner instructions if they were needed, if they popped up. Using the brake also while rolling around helped out tremendously. They taught you that at one point during this world. The final area we got to was the area where we got the main artifact of this world, which was the PlayStation 1, not the PS1 ONE, just the regular PS1. This world, I did get a little emotional, just a little bit, and I didn't even experience the PS1 area. I don't know, just the colors, the clouds, the pink, it was just all really nice, and seeing the little Astro Bots playing on the TV together, playing around in a little circle, playing a little made-up game on the PlayStation, that looked really cool. The CRT TVs with the PlayStation screen and the Stardom music, it was really beautiful, man, and I really liked it. Easily one of my favorites areas where we earned our main artifact in this game, but it's not on the levels of the next world, which we're going to get into next. The next world up in Astro's Playroom was SSD Speedway, which was based off of the PlayStation 2 and the SSD area of the PS5. This was my second favorite world that I ended up playing. The spacious elements and backgrounds to this world were very nice. This kind of art style with stars and galaxies and things like that is easily one of my favorite designs overall in any sort of art form. Starting things off with level 1, Turbo Trail. Just as an FYI, also if you play this, don't forget to turn around and get that puzzle piece. That was one of the things I was bamboozled by. It took me like 15 to 20 minutes unedited to go and find that puzzle piece that I needed. Turn around and get that. The name reigns true as well because, well, they were moving fast in this level. The name here is based off of the fast trail of bots that were flying around. The skill that got put to the test here was your ability to fly and then glide in the air to get on a certain platform. As usual, it was a bit difficult at first, but it was about angling and timing. The second half of the level was mainly getting to the rocket ship so you could begin the second level itself. That's weather outside, don't mind that. I'm so sorry. All of the little bots flying around was pretty cool as well, as a little pun towards the level name. Moving on from flying in the air to flying in a spaceship, we've made it to level 2, Caching Caves. The name is here because of the caves that you see. The word caching, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right, is based off the term cache, which is a temporary location where files and other things can be stored. The spaceship controlling while flying was the unique thing that we got to do, and it was the skill that got put to the test, mainly with the maneuvering of the spaceship. Something new and something different for players to experience. I really liked this one once I got used to it, and it became fun to play. I also liked the DualSense vibrations, although it was a little bit rampant at times, and yeah, I even let y'all hear it through the microphone during one of the gameplays. The end of the stage also looked really cool with the lab. Moving on from flying for a bit, we got to the third level, which was Deep Dataspace. This level, not including the areas where we get main artifacts, had to be my favorite looking back at my videos, which again, if you didn't check out the Let's Play, go ahead, check out the Let's Play. The playlist is available. Like I said earlier, I love the spacious backgrounds in this world, so this really stood out to me. The name is in relation to the background of space, to stick with the theme. A lot of elements spaced out. This level also tested skills when it came to doing platform jumping, parkour, etc., including points where you needed to reuse the boost jump, which was also very important in this game. The little paintball gun area was also very fun, taking those noobs down. Those little enemy noobs, get down to the ground. After doing some parkour in Deep Dataspace, we end up in the fourth level here, which was Orbital Obstacles. This time around, there were a lot more objects that made this level a tad bit difficult. The name here is based off of flying, hence orbital, and the obstacles that would be in the way. After taking a break from flying, the crucial skill that got tested again in this level with maneuvering the spaceship was the main thing. Whether the enemies or the certain areas, there were a lot of electrical areas all across this level that made it very difficult. This one was very satisfying to beat once it was done. The flying was very fun, as mentioned in Cache and Caves. And then after all of that is said and done, we reach the area where we get the PS2 as the main artifact. I'm not even gonna say a lot. I'll just leave the footage in the background. The background will speak more than I can speak about it. It was really beautiful. This was easily my favorite area out of all of the main areas where you get your artifacts. This one with the PS2 was my favorite. Just look at the footage that you're seeing right now. I don't even have to say anything. I don't. Like, it's beautiful. It really is. It's just, wow, man. After seeing some galaxies, stars, and spaceships, we move on to World 3, Cooling Springs. This world had a lot of water, hence the name Badooms, and was based off the PS3, while also being based off of the cooling area of the PS5. It was very chill, Badooms, sorry, and it was a little more relaxing compared to the other worlds. We saw beaches, igloos, and even palm trees. Design-wise, this world was very satisfying to witness. Shout out to the PSP as well, which did make an appearance in this world. Whee! Down the slide we went into the awesome vibe of level 1 Bot Beach. This level was easily my favorite in this world, as the creator stuck true to once again considering what the world was named after, as one of the first things you see once you land off the big slide is a really big cooling fan along with the miniature cooling fans, which is A+ work from Team Asobi for that. That was just really good attention to detail. The name of the level is based off of all of the bots that were chilling on the beach. This was also one of my favorite levels in the entire game. It felt like a real beach as all of the little Astro Bots were chilling and having themselves a heck of a time, and it looked really awesome. The indoor area was also really nice. Just a dope level overall. No skill was really tested here, just some boost jumping and platform jumping. Sadly, we have to move on to the next level. Oh no! Bouncing our way into level 2, Springy Spa. You could tell by the name what this stage mainly was. The name of this level was based off of the jumping you do in the spa area once you entered indoors and all of that stuff. The skill that got put to the test here was a lot of jumping, obviously, along with timing. The background of the spa with the ice from Bot Beach was also really nice. Good attention to detail as well with the glass. Like other things in this game, the more reps you did, the better you would get. Or maybe you would get lucky the first time on some of the jumps. With me, I didn't get lucky a few of the first times, but I did try my best. After getting out of the comfy spa, we moved on to a cold level 3, Frigid Floes. It was very icy, which explains the name along with the stream of water that came later in the level. A lot of ice platforms as the skill here was managing your sliding for the most part on ice. One wrong move and you'd end up frozen. No Anna, no Elsa. Badooms. This one was very simple, but some platforming was a little bit difficult. The little aquarium tank at the end to make the transition into the next level was also really nice. It looked nice. Going from the frigid cold conditions, we moved on to level 4, Hotel Hopalot. The name explains it all, as there is a lot of jumping and hopping, and this time it wasn't as easy, especially the part where you had to get on the moving platform to get that puzzle piece. That wasn't fun for me. I had SpongeBob edits over that on YouTube Shorts and in one of the videos that we did here on the channel. The name here is based off of the hotel you were in and all of the hopping that was done. The skill here obviously was jumping and managing your jump along with timing. The aquarium tank transition was still really nice here as well. A lot of different platforms had to be dealt with, and that's exactly what was done. When all of that's said and done, we finally get to the very end where we get our main artifact, which is the PlayStation 3. And this area, if it weren't for the PS2 SSD Speedway area, this would be one of my favorites. I love the little beach that was still there, along with one of the loudest PlayStation startup sounds ever. The the startup screen, the music, it was all really nice. I really liked that one as well, although I wish we would have saw a few other colors with the background. Really beautiful scene. Also, the creators, again, not forgetting what the world was based off of, having the little beach where you would, you know, walk around on the platform and stuff like that. So this one was very nice. I really like this area. Getting into GPU Jungle, this was the last world before we would get into the boss stage for this game. This was the one I had no idea about as to what was next, and funnily enough, it was my favorite out of all of the worlds. All of the green grass, we saw Crash Bandicoot, Boroboga, and the hidden lyrics that were in the walls, and ultimately the little monkey suit that we got to use. This world was very fun and very cool. Well, it wasn't cool, it was a jungle. The name of this world came from the GPU part of the PS5, and it was based off of the PS4. Starting with the first level in GPU Jungle, Renderforest was very unique, especially graphics wise. This is cool since rendering deals with the finalization of graphics, especially the shadows, which stand out in this level with the trees and things of that nature. Pun intended. I didn't even have that one planned in my script. That's hilarious. We also ran into Crash Bandicoot, as I mentioned earlier. Shout out to the homie Crash. The skill that was put to the test here for a bit was boost jumping, and it was fairly easy, along with a little bit of platform jumping. All of the grass made this stage look really beautiful to kick things off in GPU Jungle. Going from the green grass and seeing the tall trees, we enter the trees for level 2. Teraflop Treetops. The teraflops associate with the GPU by processing a lot of floating operations per second in tech. This is noticed here with the movement of the monkey suit, the leaves, the other Astro Bots eating fruits, bananas, grapes, and importantly the waterfall that would be in the background at certain times. I also love how the creators just remembered what the level was in, or at least what the level was associated with. With the GPU things, obviously GPU Jungle, you see certain elements that relate to the title of the level and the world, which I think that was just one of the coolest things about this game, in my opinion. Not forgetting that those elements were there to make this world unique. Moving on from the monkey suit for a bit, we step into level 3, which is Raytrace Ruins. The name is once again associated with a tech element known as ray tracing. You can tell it was important in this level because of the way some of the colors bounce off of other objects, and it makes it look really, really nice, especially for a free game, which I will mention in our summary later on. But for a free game, there was a lot here. Basically a demo for Astro Bot. It's just unbelievable to think about rewatching my Let's Play and stuff. It's just insane to think about. Because of the exploring that is done here, this is my favorite level in this world. The skill test here is platforming and boost jumping, which they're very common. You're going to continue to hear those things for the rest of this world. Very much a, ooh, look at this, an type stage. It's simple, beautiful, walk around, avoid enemies, and things of that nature. It was really nice, and overall in the game, another one of my personal favorites here. After going around to view the beautiful world of Raytrace Ruins, we get back into the monkey suit for level 4, which is Mount Motherboard. This will be the last level in the game and in the world. The name of this level comes from the motherboard, which is named after the most important part of a computer and pretty much anything technology-wise, most things at least. This pretty much marks the end of the game and the world, as you need it like an actual motherboard in order to have everything complete. The skill test here went back to the monkey suit, so things from Teraflop Treetops, most of that applies here, and it was still very fun, especially with the softer platforms that you had to grab onto, which for me, it was a journey once I actually figured it out. It was very fun once I got the what do you want to call it, the swing of things, if you will. The motherboard background on the platform also was a really nice touch. After getting to Mount Motherboard and overcoming things, we step into a very opposite atmosphere, a very cold and snowy world with the PS4 background, startup screen, and sound. The weather did a really major flip here. It's just insane. I guess it was just to match the background, which I mean, sure, but I guess it was just the jungle in a different part of the season, because it this looked like Antarctica, buddy. But obviously here in this little area, you can see the little analog joysticks along with the igloo shape, with the cords on top to pull in order to get your PS4 artifact. As far as it goes for the areas that you would get your artifacts in, this one was okay. It didn't stand out like that, but it would definitely be in the order of PS2, PS1, PS3, PS4. PS3 is only below PS1 because I was just emotional about PS1. I almost started crying over that one. So, but that would be the order of the main what you call them. And then I guess in the regards, before we get into the boss stage talk with 94 Throwback and the other things, world wise it would be SSD Speedway, it would be second, GPU Jungle would be first, SSD Speedway, Cooling Springs, and then Memory Meadow. Memory Meadow was kind of basic, but they were all really nice. I can't really rank them. I don't know. Actually, I'm gonna take that back. I can't really rank the worlds. They all had their own unique little things to them. But I guess the favorite that I had was GPU Jungle. Again, Raytrace Ruins. What a sight, man. What a freaking sight. Now we're going to move on to talking about 1994 Throwback. Getting into the boss stage of Astro's Playroom, 1994 Throwback was very much Throwback. It was fun, especially for the second boss that we had to deal with. It started with the 1994 elements such as the CRT TV, a PS1, and the stairs of memory cards that led up to the first boss, a orange dinosaur, who was relatively easy after one attempt via a hit to the eyeball about 1 or 2 times. I believe it was 2 times. You would then move on to the next boss, which would be a green dinosaur, which looked a little more mechanical, robot-like, and brought a little bit more of a punch than the first boss did. Now with this dragon, he would spit out little enemies a lot more than the first dragon, and at a certain point he would aim lasers out of his eyes, he would hit the ground, and then he would destroy the ground, and then PlayStation trophies would pop up. You'd have to take the trophies and throw it at the eye of the little dinosaur and basically slap box, quote unquote, with it. Just slap the little dinosaur in the eye until it got weak, and then you did it twice, and then you'd pull the tongue, and then you'd win, and it would say thank you for playing, and all the little credits and stuff like that. But they did a really good job on this. I felt like that. I thought there would have been more. I guess, you know, each world gets a boss. I thought that's what was going to happen with this, but that was clearly not it. It definitely felt like I was playing something from 1994, though. It felt like Metroid or Mega Man or something. I know Mega Man's a little bit older, but it has games that, or had games that came out a little bit later. But it felt like a game from the 90s, and they definitely aimed it down. Obviously, the screen ratio for the first boss, that was really cool to see. But it felt like I was playing something from that time period, and they did a really good job on 1994 Throwback. With the second to last thing we're going to talk about in this video in regards to areas and things in this game, we have Network Speedrun, which was an extra thing to play. It was basically elements from certain worlds and levels put into a short little stage. Network Speedrun consisted of 8 stages. I must say, some of these records were very unreal at times. I tried my best to try to get close to these on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and a little before I did the script for this video, or finished it at least, I couldn't get close. So no Network Speedrun Part 3 is coming at any point. Obviously it would have been up by now. But pretty much just letting you get a chance to sharpen up on your skills that were tested for certain worlds, platform jumping, boost jumping, all those things, and basically try to get your name on the worldwide leaderboard. In these instances, we're not calling them levels, we're going to call them stages. So we start off with the first stage. Chronologically on the top row, it was Mountain Run, which was based off of Cooling Springs. You could obviously see from some of the elements in this stage that this is based off of Bod Beach. This was the one run I thought personally that I'd get the world record on, or get close to at least. That didn't happen. I don't know how people did it. I don't know. I want to know how they did it. I don't know. I don't know how they did that stuff, man. But it was very fun to play, and it was very simple too. Easily one of my favorites. Obviously, I already said how much I like Bod Beach, so you kind of get how that goes. The next stage up was Space Run, and this stage was based off of elements from SSD Speedway, There is a lot of space here, so obviously deep Dataspace had a lot of influence on this stage. Another very fun stage, pretty much like Mountain Run, kind of just testing your skills of jumping and timing. Basically the same thing with just a different world. No pun intended to the TV show. But this one was also really nice. This was one I also thought I could get the record on. No, not even. But this one was also very fun to play. The third stage in Network Speed Run would be Frozen Run, which was based off of elements from Cooling Springs. The level base that had the most influence here had to be Frigid Floes. You could tell by the ice and the little stream of water that was also in this level, as Frigid Floes had a lot of ice and it had a cool little igloo. This one of course tested the skills of sliding on ice and timing with jumps. This one was a little bit difficult with doing those things though, especially for me later on with the stream of water, having to jump on the ice platforms. I didn't have a fun time with that. The first time I played it, it was easy, but then it got a little bit more difficult, which became a little frustrating. But it was also a really cool stage to play. No pun intended. Actually, epic pun intended. Next up in the first row of stages is Stormy Run, and this will be the final one in the first row of the stages. The stage here was based off of elements from Meadow, and obviously Electrocloud was the main thing. You could tell by the background, the lightning, and the CRT TVs. The platforms were still rotating as well, and all of those things. The skill that was put to the test here was platform jumping and timing. The stage was very fun, especially with the timing element, which was also another one, kind of like Mountain Run and Space Run. Very fun. Pretty much all of the little runs, the first four, were very similar in regards to how you need to handle the stage in order to get to the end. So all of them were very fun. My favorite out of the first row definitely was Mountain Run. I liked the beginning. I liked Bod Beach. So Mountain Run was really nice out of the first four that we played. And with that, we get into the second little row of the last four of the little stages in Network Speed Run. Next up in the bottom row of the stages is Climbing Run. This stage was based off of elements from the world GPU jungle, and you could tell a lot of influence came from Mount Motherboard and Teraflop Treetops, as they both have some similar elements, and obviously the monkey suit. The skill put to the test here was the ability to use the monkey suit to climb as fast as you could to get to the finish line. This stage was not easy at first, but as time went on for me personally, I got better at it. Obviously, as you could tell by the footage in the background, let's just say maybe I tried my best. Depending on what we put, I don't know what'll be there, but you know, we tried our best and all of those good things. Next up in the bottom row of stages, we had Jetpack Run. This stage had elements based off of the world SSD Speedway and the levels caching caves and orbital obstacles. You could tell obviously with the spaceships and with the caves that you would see early on that those elements were very vital in this stage. The skill that got put to the test here was the maneuvering of the spaceship. This one was medium, as it would require essentially making very little mistakes here. You make one and a second turns into 10 seconds. Next up in the bottom row is Hopping Run. This stage had elements based off of Cooling Springs and primarily the levels Hotel, Hopalot, and Springy Spa, obviously. As you can see, elements from those levels kind of split up into two parts mainly. The stage tested the skill of jumping and timing, and this was the one that required a lot of practice, especially with, you needing to hit certain platforms to make other platforms appear, and certain platforms moving in a square and then moving back up, down, and all of those things. It required a lot of practice. It did get easier as most of the bottom row would, but timing pissed me off a lot here with the moving platforms, especially if you didn't gear up for the next jump while you were in mid-air. That would have substantial consequences if you weren't on that. And now we've made it to the end with the final stage in Network Speed Run being Rolling Run, and this stage had elements from Meadow and the levels Bumper Broadway and Fastlane Fields in regards to the main elements. You could obviously tell with all the pink and eventually the ice that would be in the level. The skill that was tested here was rolling around using the DualSense pad on your DualSense controller, and talk about hard. Yeah, pause. That's a major pause. Hey yo, woo, woo. Oh no. Not to mention the ice did come back to cause havoc like I just mentioned. You'll have a bit of trouble with it, as most of the bottom row was, but it was fun. Very much a roller coaster of emotions of, ah man, and oh my god, no! Definitely the most challenging stage for me. Obviously, you know, the average man hand size is about 7.5 inches. Mine is about 7.5. And having to do the little movement with the DualSense pad can be, it was very interesting, especially if you did it for a long period of time, like 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you just keep playing, and then your hands would get kind of like, oh no, I can't do this. But yeah, network speed run was very fun, and I enjoyed it. The first 4 stages, especially the basics, the simplicity, and things like that, I really enjoyed network speed run. Now we get into the last thing, which has been saved for last, the best for last. We got the pecan pie, we got the dessert ready, and that is PlayStation Labo. It was a beaut seeing the process of things, going from seeing basically nothing, empty wall, no artifacts or anything, to seeing a full room and a full wall of puzzle pieces by the end of the game. It was a beauty. It was a great process. It was not only that, but there was also a secret Labo, which we'll talk about as well a little later on. There were all sorts of cool things as well to notice here, such as the Astro Bots being under the PlayStation 1 multi-tap, or one of the Astro Bots being inside the PS3 Super Slim. It was really cool to see that, and it's kind of, you know, a humor element to it to make it a little fun and make it a little funny. Or even Astro Bots being in front of the little PS2 eye camera or whatever. That kind of stuff was very cool, you know, humor purposes, like I just said. Stop repeating yourself, loser! In order, each area and its artifacts. The PlayStation 1 artifacts went as followed: the PS1, the original DualShock 1 controller, a PS1 game disc, a PS1 memory card, PlayStation mouse, PS1 multi-tap, DualShock 1, a pocket station, the PS1 ONE with the little LCD monitor, which was my favorite out of all these artifacts. Is not even a question. Powering it on was very fun. I did a YouTube short about it. It got a lot of views. I did it in the video when we played Memory Meadow. Yeah, very cool to see that. Moving into the PS2 artifacts that we would get as follows: the PS2, the DualShock 2 controller, a PS2 game disc, a PS2 memory card, a PS2 multi-tap, a PS2 network adapter, an iToy camera, a SingStar microphone, a PS2 Slim, and the Buzz controller. As far as it goes here with these artifacts, my favorite definitely was the PS2. A lot of these artifacts, and it's kind of weird, some of them I have played before, most of them. The PS2 is right there near my foot as I'm recording into this microphone, so it's kind of weird seeing it in the game. So it was my favorite in regards to the PS2 artifacts. As we move into the PSP artifacts, this is not including PS Vita, that's for PS3 section, technically speaking. So the rain is picking up as well, so hopefully you don't hear that. But PSP artifacts were as follow: the as followed, I should say. The PSP, the PSP UMD, a PSP camera, a PSP microphone, a PSP GPS receiver, and the PSP Go, which had no UMDs in it. Everything PSP related was really dope. Even the PS Vita, getting to see the little startup and the startup music, you know, that was some dope stuff, man. I must say so myself. So all the PSP artifacts, Hall of Fame top tier artifacts, not even a question. Moving on into the PS3 artifacts, we had the PS3, a DualShock 3 controller, a PS3 game disc, a PSI camera, the PS3 Slim, the PS3 Super Slim, the PS Move controller, PS Move navigation controller, a PS Move shooting attachment, a PS Move sharpshooter, a PS Vita, and a PS Vita game pack. PS Vita is my favorite here. Outside of that though, it would probably be the original PlayStation 3 with the little sound like that. That PS3 looks really crazy. The graphics on, or I should say the graphics, the attention to detail on these consoles they did a really good job on them. Play it yourself and see, especially if you've seen some of these consoles, they just looked really, really good, man. So the PS3 would get the freak off of the road, man. You got the rain and these trucks that are combining. The math is not mathing. It's not helping my recording. No. Up next, we move into the PS4 artifacts. The rain is still at that same pace. It just needs to stop. The PS4 artifacts went as followed with the PS4, the DualShock 4, last generation with DualShock, PS4 Slim, the PlayStation camera, the PSVR headset, PSVR processor unit, PS4 Pro, and the PSVR aim controller. My favorite here would be the PS4 Pro. It looked like one of those triple-decker oatmeal cream pies from Little Debbie. It looked really crazy. I didn't have the PS4 Pro. I had the original PlayStation 4, which it's also by my foot. Literally, like, I could pull out the console right now and just knock on it with my knuckles, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna let it sit where it is. But it's just so weird seeing all these artifacts here, man. And we move on into the PS5 artifacts, which were found. A lot of them were in the secret Labo, or most of them. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But it went as follows with the PS5 itself, the DualSense controller, an HD camera, Pulse 3D, wireless headset, PS5 Slim, PSVR 2 headset, PSVR 2 controllers, DualSense Edge, a PlayStation Portal, and an Access controller. The PlayStation Portal looked really nice. The PS5 as well, but the PlayStation Portal would be my favorite thing out of all these artifacts. It looked really nice. And I will also add this into the summary for the game. I already mentioned the artifacts numerous times, but Team Asobi did a hell of a job with making these artifacts in the game. It was so weird to think about because from the historical perspective of Astro's Playroom, and I'm gonna say this and we'll get out of here and we'll do the outro because we've probably been here long enough. Just the general connection that you get, no matter if you're a Gen X or a millennial or maybe an early Gen Z like I am, you have a general connection when you see most of these artifacts. Whether it's the PS1 era, the PS2 era. For me, it started with technically with 2 and 3. It was the first time I ever really played anything PlayStation related, at least. And then PS4, obviously. We all have a general connection that we can think about when we think about these consoles. You know, there was a good chance when seeing these artifacts that you yourself or somebody else you knew likely got their gaming journey started with one of the artifacts that was presented. Or maybe they played everything that was already there with the artifacts, and it's just that connection with gaming is just so unique, and it just stands out a lot in a really big way. And Astro's Playroom did a really good job on... Is that my phone? Oh no, I didn't know my phone was on the whole time. Oh my gosh, that is... Wow. I like that general connection that we had with these consoles and these artifacts, and it was just really cool, man. So I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video, in case this is the final audio that I end up doing. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to make it rain on the like button and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, hit the little bell that's next to my name so you get notified when I upload on the channel, and be sure to click all notifications so you don't miss a video. Thank you all for watching. Next video up, we'll do a guide on how we'll handle Astro Bot in a Let's Play, and then we'll start that. We're gonna try to start Astro Bot next week, hopefully around Wednesday. We'll see how things go, but stay tuned for that. See y'all on the next one, man. Peace. I will find out, baby. I will shine.